Oregon 4th District Congressman Peter DeFazio was in Corvallis on Wednesday evening at the Corvallis Public Library.
19 August town halls, third one today, and pleased you're here. Beautiful August night. Thank you.
The congressman entertained questions from the audience that included things on forest health, GMO bills, and telemedicine. Also, there was a lot of interest in the fact that we were getting involved in Iraq again.
My name is Leah Bolger. I'm also a retired military veteran, but my question doesn't have to do with the VA, but rather our military policies. There's two big problems that I have. One is the amount of money we're spending on the military. And particularly, I was very, very dismayed to see that you did not oppose the recent House vote to stop the $8 million a day that we're giving to Israel. $8 million a day could do a lot of scientific research and medical telecommunications, medicine and wildfire fighting. It's a lot of money. So the money that's being spent, but what concerns me even more is the lack of congressional oversight over our military operations. Could you tell me by what congressional authority we are now bombing Iraq and launching missiles from drones in Pakistan and Yemen? By what congressional authority is that happening?
Okay, thank you. Well, I'll start with the second one and work back to the first one. I've been very involved in the issue of war powers since I first came to Congress. Ronald Reagan flagged a bunch of Kuwaiti taters in the Gulf without any permission, and then started providing military escorts for them, and a number of us raised concerns. We got blown off, and we actually sued, but we were thrown out. Any time Congress sues the president, it just gets thrown out of court, which is why the Republicans suing the president for exceeding his administrative authority is, and then, they're using taxpayer money. We didn't use taxpayer money. We got a private group to pay for our lawsuit. But anyway, they're going to waste taxpayer money and get thrown out of court, but that's another story. So I turned myself to more productive undertakings, which was to deal with war powers. The Constitution's very clear. We have a commander-in-chief who, once Congress has declared war, has the authority to conduct the war, because you don't want 535 people telling you how to fight a war. And we pretty much followed that up through World War II. And then starting with Korea, not so much, and even further and further off. So during the Vietnam War, after Nixon bombed Cambodia secretly, and then it came out, Congress reacted and adopted something called the War Powers Act.
In addition, there was a question from Corvallis resident Bart Bolger on affording corporations the same rights as citizens.
Affording corporations constitutional rights.
Sure, I already have. I don't know how many I'm on this time. I was on 5 in the last Congress because they took various approaches. One would be just roll back the decisions, restore the status quo ante. Others would be more definitive in terms of defining corporations and saying they are not eligible to be individuals. Others would deal with the money speech issue. So there's numerous bills, constitutional amendments pending to do that, and the Republicans have seen fit to hold this many hearings on those constitutional amendments. Right now we're a bit stuck. I think what's happening with money is unbelievably corrosive of our representative democracy. I can point out probably 3 major problems with what's wrong with Congress, what's wrong with our system, and at the top of the list would be money. As you pointed out, since the Tillman Act of 1906 or 7, corporations were not allowed to directly contribute to campaigns, and that was upheld by numerous Supreme Court decisions. The Taft-Hartley Act of 47 said unions couldn't contribute directly to campaigns. That was upheld by numerous court decisions. The money is speech issue is a whole different new construct, but these things were upheld many times. And bottom line is, the Supreme Court decided a case that wasn't before it. They were hearing a very narrow case on a video produced about Hillary Clinton. They'd already heard that case. And then Justice Roberts said, well, wait a minute, we want to rehear the case, and by the way, we want to hear about these other issues. So they created a case to hear and overturn 100 years of precedent in law. It was an incredibly judicial activist decision, which of course goes against what Justice Roberts said during his confirmation hearings. He would never be a judicial activist. I wanted to file articles of impeachment. My staff talked me out of it. But, anyway, I am on a number of bills to restore that, to say corporations aren't people. They don't have speech rights. Money isn't speech. And we can impose reasonable limits on the expenditure of funds at the state and federal level for electoral office. Because Oregon, of course, also, before all this stuff, you might remember, Oregon adopted a significant campaign finance reform, which was thrown out under our Constitution. And Oregon has preceded the federal rules in terms of being one of the least regulated states in the union. Basically, you can take money from anybody and spend it on anything. You just have to report it. And that's kind of where we're headed federally. It's a problem.
This is Corvallis Tidbits. If you like us, then subscribe to us on YouTube, Instagram, or Twitter.